All right, we're gonna get this party started. I know I am given all kinds of 2 or 3 years ago vibes. I did not want y'all to worry. I did have a bout of extreme fatigue hit me right after getting off the bike today. I let it be known on Spoutable that when I got ready for the day, we were supposed to head into town to get my ID stuff cleared up and get a new one made. It was just a lot of stuff just hit me all at once, and I decided to take it easy. But I was determined to do this Bonnet Chronicles today. And welcome to the Bonnet Chronicles. I'm your host, Kalari GXC. I'm going to put the word out and then get started. Whether the chat fills up or not, we like to get things fired off because we always upload the cast to YouTube after anyway. And we are going to get it opening with my problem with the media right now. I know to them it's a business and horse races make them a lot of money, but it is infuriating when I see crap like this being pushed as serious journalism. And I know, oh, Tim, it's a free and fair election country. You should be allowed to tout what you want to tout. Yeah, I'm also allowed to call the fuck shit out when I see it. And what's fuck shit about this? Well, honestly speaking, third party candidates to me have always been spoilers. Point blank, period. There's never to me been a serious third party candidate. Everything from Nader to Ross Perot, and all I know, some of you progressives are getting your panties in a twist about that. Your faves suck. And they are always there to make a serious election either very unserious or fuck things up for us. And we can't afford for stuff to be fucked up because need I remind you, Mr. 91 indictments that the GOP can't seem to get the fuck away from is saying things like he will have people put away in mental hospitals because he still thinks those are things like his buddy Reagan didn't get rid of a ton of those. But he's already plotting his return to the White House and putting people away. So this is the level of real fuck shit that I have to push back against when our media does unserious articles about this. And their title is completely clickbait because it's like 4 alternative presidential candidates and how they might. And I need to stress to you, the word might is on purpose because they know these fucking cartoon characters aren't going to really impact those of us who are seriously politically invested. This is for you wishy washy fuckers who barely vote, don't think elections matter, and say all kinds of stupid shit, but then wonder when your rights are being rolled back why. You got the anti vaxxer who tries to coast on his family's name. Because the Kennedy clan has really not been a thing since most of the old guard has passed. Whether it was through assassinations or old age, most of that family heyday is gone. They have maybe one that's like a representative in Massachusetts right now, who I don't side eye all the time. But this fuck shit, who's married to another actress fuck shit, decided to say that getting the literal COVID vaccine was akin to a historical horror that happened to impact Jewish people. But he doesn't want to be labeled as anti-Semitic, even though he says anti-Semitic shit. No, he does not get my vote. Even if no other Democrat ran and he was the only other alternative, he might be the first time I decide to go GOP. Which would never happen because we do have solid Democrats. We have a solid incumbent running next year. So he is not an even serious look. Then we have live action Grady, as I like to call him. I don't care if people get mad at me calling him that. When I look at him, I see the character from fucking Sanford and Son. Fight me, I don't care. Live action Grady here, who got salty because when President Obama got elected, he didn't get a cabinet position. He didn't get the keys to the kingdom he thought he would deserve for being adjacent enough to actual famous black people. And he's still a salty, mad bitch. So he thinks he's going to ding our current president on age and other stupid fuck superficial shit. And nobody knows you. Nobody cares, Cornell. You're not going anywhere. So there's a read of that guy. Don't know who this chick is. I thought they were going to have Marianne Williams, unserious SNL character ass up here. I think that's the one who scammed a bunch of people for the recount money. I don't even remember her name. I just know she's a Green Party candidate who literally had people give her money for a recount. And then, did you get your recount? I know you didn't get your recount. You donated money to this fuck shit for a recount and you didn't get your recount. So stop relying on these third party candidates. They're never going to get you what you think they're going to get you, and they're a waste of a vote. I don't even know who this guy is. I think it's Manchin. He looks like Manchin. He's got that dour face like Manchin. I'm not a big West Virginia person anyway. I've had to drive through it quite a few times, and I like to get through it quickly. I don't care if that's your state right now. You elect these fuck shits, then you complain about these fuck shits. If he's a former Democratic fuck shit, who cares? None of these people have a chance with those of us who are both pragmatic, who also don't want the Republicans front runners to be in charge again, because we had 4 years with Trump and we've all seen what happens when he's in power and what he's threatening if he gets power again. And the other guys and I guess girl that they allowed on the stage, because I don't watch their debates because I'm not planning on voting for anybody GOP, are just a bunch of chuckleheads who they don't want to twist themselves in the MAGA bunch, pissing them off by saying anything bad against Trump, so they don't push it back against him. And then you've got people who legitimately want to try to say, well, I'm not against a women's rights per se, but what about taking back abortion? What about heartbeat bills? Because we care about the children until the children are out and you need to fund them, because then we can't have that. So these idiots twist themselves in the bunch to try to roll us back hundreds of years to the past, and they don't want any pushback against it. They don't want anybody saying that they're dangerous for our country, and we're supposed to take them seriously. And I just don't want to. I don't want to take the Republicans seriously, and I don't want to take these chuckle fucks seriously. But our media seems to think that these four, especially the one who literally grifted people for millions, have a chance. The anti-vax, anti-Semite has a chance because he's a Kennedy. Cornel West, who people don't even fucking remember his name, and they love that I call him live action Grady, even though some try to get their panties in a bunch about it. Legitimately stop trying to make this a horse race. We are in danger. We don't start protecting our democracy seriously, we will legitimately be in danger of a crazy man getting back into power and literally starting. He already put migrant children in detention centers. My friends had their grandmother rounded up because of his little anti-Muslim leans. We cannot afford what this man would do. He would go full fucking nuclear on anybody he considers a dissident, anybody he considers the enemy. And let me get this straight to you about Donald Trump. If you don't compliment him, if you're not kissing his ass or giving him money, you're his enemy. So if you want to play around with our democracy, what's left of it, the tattered ruins that it really is in, that we are still trying to piece up, patch up, and fix, go ahead. But it comes at a consequence. And we've already lost a ton of lives putting our country in that man's hands. And he is already playing like the 91 indictments don't matter. Like all the shit he's done over the years don't matter. Let's not lose this game of fuck around, because we will find out. And it will not be good for any of us. And it is what makes me mad. Here's a look at the 4 possible candidates. And they go Robert Kennedy Jr. He's a candidate whose impact on the race might be the greatest. No, it won't. He's a literal anti-vaxxer, alleged anti-Semite, who legitimately called getting the COVID vaccine his Holocaust. Why would you even play around with this? It's literally, the soundbite's there forever. He said it. You can't say fake news, wasn't my words. Now he's twisted it that it was just misconstrued. The words that fell out of his own lips, out of his own brain, out of his own mouth, we're just taking the wrong way. I don't want this man as president. I don't want him in any kind of political thing, because he's a cartoon character. And I'm tired of us electing cartoon characters and expecting anything out of them. He can't coast on his family's name. He can't coast on his wife's career. It's time to let this go. We're never going to have another Kennedy dynasty. It's just not going to happen. He might take more voters from the Republicans than the Democrats. That's the only saving grace, because they like their Fruit Loops. Look at all the people still backing 91 indictments. But I don't want to risk Democrats getting sleepy or lazy or apathetic because you think, well, no, they've got a candidate that will hurt the Republicans. Do your job. Do your civic fucking duty. There's a reason why I'm going in a few days, because I couldn't do it today. Welcome to the chat, Nia and Tria. No Kennedy. I agree with that. I do not believe that there's a Kennedy currently, even with the one that I kind of semi-like in Massachusetts. I don't remember his name off the top, because there's so many of those fucks. No offense, they're a big family. I got a big family. I don't remember my family's name either. The point, though, is the people that think that this man will destabilize stuff enough for the Republicans that you can just skip out because you're mad that Joe Biden didn't come and personally pat you on the head, rub your behind, and put you to bed at night is ridiculous. We cannot afford apathy. We cannot afford these media articles that'll make some of you who your civic report cards are in maybe the C to F minus range as it is, because you vote some of the time, but you just get tired. You get apathetic. You don't get stuck in a matter. You need the world to be on fire before you take stuff seriously. You're part of the problem. We have a solid incumbent. A solid incumbent who's up against a global-wide fuck shit thing. Who has to make really tough decisions that you might not all like, that a lot of people want to weigh in on, but if you were there making the same fucking decisions, you might make a worse choice. A president is not your best friend. A president has to get the job done, and so far, I know this president is doing a good job because our newspaper would rather run fuck shit like this. They're not going to talk about the economy that's up. They're not going to talk about the freaking 3.5% raise in literal prosperity that this country has felt collectively. They're not going to talk about the state-by-state thing that I'm about to bring up, because I have a fired-up topic today about the economy and jobs and everything else, because it is all important. They don't want you to see the good, because if they push enough of the bad, they get enough of a horse race. And I need to remind you, we cannot afford a horse race anymore. We played those games, and every time we play those games, America loses. We collectively lose when we allow this dumb shit to rule the roost. I don't even want to read all of this crap about 538 and other independent, allegedly, but also ran by people with more gains in their pockets than brains. They run all of these articles about how Kennedy could be a big destabilizer. No, he won't. And we don't need to waste any votes on him. He is not a Democrat. He is not a Republican. He is literally running independent. If you're an independent voter and you find the abhorrent things he says about vaccinations and the Holocaust interesting, that's on you. If you are a Democrat right now and you're hoping that your ass can sit home next year because his destabilizing vote might hurt the GOP more, you're dreaming. Any vote that isn't for a solid party right now, because we know the Republicans will run one of those clown shows, if not the big clown, if he's not in jail, fingers crossed, one of them 91 indictments stick. But if he somehow gets out of this and is able to run for president, he is who they're seriously trying to back. So we cannot play with this. I know some of you think, no, it can't happen. You're the same people who thought it couldn't happen in 2015 when he had first announced it. And then he got the nomination. And you're the ones who said, oh, no, he could possibly win. And he did. And I know, election interference, all that stuff. We cannot afford to play around with this. Welcome to the chat, Beans. Exactly. There are just too many people playing games with this and thinking, well, I know that the current administration isn't really bad per se, and I'm not really suffering, but everybody else is complaining, so I need to complain too. And he's old, so it's an easy button to punch at. And she's black and Asian, so that's an easy button if I'm racist to punch at. They have all of these superficial excuses to why they will not back this incumbent who came in with nothing done. 4 years of nothing done under Trump. Had a full pandemic to deal with, globalized destabilization, because need I remind you, even though Trump tried to pull us out in NATO and other obligations, we were never officially out. So President Biden had to come in and fix a lot of stuff quickly. He had 4 years, and 4 years including having to deal with a literal domestic terrorist incident on January 6th that tried to destabilize our election, still got the job done and is still doing the job. And his slogan that we still got work to do shows you the amount of integrity and ingenuity and fucking work that this administration wants to do. And it's just infuriating to me right now that you have people trying to destabilize this and these articles that don't make sense. And you got Cornel West here. Like I said, used to respect the man when I thought he was really about that life. When I really thought that he cared about black issues and social issues and had a social conscience. The man is a fucking PhD. He's a professor. He's out there, what I thought, trying to teach about actual relations, human relations, because I hate using the term race relation. I am trying to distance myself from it because I'm sick and tired of using the same fucking social nonsense that has caused the fractures in humanity in the first place. If we stop using the terminology, we get away from the terminology. And this whole fucking racist terminology pisses me off in the first place. But I thought this man was serious about educating people on it, and he's just serious about grifting. I guess homeboy needs a new house or something, because there is absolutely no reason for him to run for president right now. None. We don't know you. Those of us who actually do know a bit about you don't like what we know about you. Who are you courting at this point? Are you courting the Bernie or Busters who your Messiah said he's not running? He said, I am going to back President Biden and VP Harris, not in those words directly, but in his old man surly thing saying, no, there's no reason for me to run. This is good. If your man says, I don't want to do this, it's not a smart play, why should you back Cornel West then? If Bernie, I have run several times despite everything. And I guess because a woman's not running, but that I don't feel like unpacking the misogynistic handbag again, because apparently going viral for saying he's every woman was enough for me. That was a slam dunk, and I will take it. I love it, and I know there are still heifers mad about it, so it makes me smile thinking about that. Honestly speaking, though, if Bernie Sanders isn't running, that should tell all of you progressives that maybe not throw your hands in the ring of somebody like Cornel West who just wants to do this well enough to sell a book to you on top of it. Stop giving these grifters your money. And speaking of which, because I'm going to go down this article just a little bit more, because I couldn't remember her name. I don't normally follow Green Party people, because as much as I care about the environment, I live out in nature right now, and I'm loving it. I want to protect it. I do think we could do better with it. She is not the answer. Jill Stein has alleged questionable political and other social tactics. There's pictures of her in Moscow. You can't get away from it. It's been shared all over Twitter. My former political group used to share it constantly to remind you, don't give this heifer money. And yet still, in 2016, a lot of you fools parted with your dollars because she promised you that she was going to do a recount. She promised you. And did you get that recount? I know you didn't. I'm not even going to wait for your answer. She pocketed a lot of money and you didn't get a recount. So why anybody would trust Jill Stein with anything is beyond me. But, the media wants to pretend like these people are serious. Serious grifters, but not serious enough. And now Joe Manchin, who's allegedly still a Democrat, I thought since they put his picture up there, maybe he jumped ship like homegirl from Nevada did. Did a cinema and said, you know what? I got all I can out of this party. I used your platform. I'm an independent now, deuces. I thought maybe he pulled the cinema. Nope, he still got a D by his name. But what makes you think that the guy that everybody is clowned on, the guy that we all blame for holding shit up in Congress, will have a fucking chance? Come on, media. Seriously, anytime I hear anybody talking about Joe Manchin, in any way, shape, or form is to complain about him. Whether it's the people in his districts or the people who don't even live in his state, but every time we try to get something passed, whether it's the Voting Protection Act, George Floyd bills, everything that we tried to do to protect our stability in both voting and our sanctity as black people, this man has fought against because he's in West Virginia. He can't look like he's for civil rights. Nope, nope, nope. But he has to look like he's a moderate enough on the side of conservatism to protect his ends. I don't know what to say about this, except that I don't understand why our media is doing this right now. Have y'all not lost people close to you in the last 4 years? Did you not see the horrors of grown-ass people storming our Capitol, acting like our free and fair election wasn't fair enough for them to respect? I had to respect it in 2016, and no, I did not do that weird pussy hat march. Some of us had to work back then. I wasn't going to lose my job to march on Washington when I voted the right way. Some of you didn't, and you thought you were slick going down there. I'm going to protest Trump. No, all you had to do was fucking vote, and you didn't. That's why you went to that stupid march, to make yourself feel better, because your demographic did us dirty. So let's face it, okay? Your bullshit, putting yourself out there, acting like you're umbrage about that, didn't do fuck all, but at least we didn't storm the Capitol and try to overturn a fucking fair election. And that is what we witnessed January 6, 2021. So when I tell you that we are not up against rational people, we are not up against sane people, we are up against people who are literally willing to go to jail to commit a crime against our fucking nation. We cannot sleep on this, and these articles do not help the situation, because this is not for you pragmatists who already got your incumbent pick set and locked. This is for you wishy-washy fuckers who aren't gonna vote, who think it's not gonna matter anyway, it's all in the back. We cannot play around with this anymore. Do your civic duty. If you are 18 and up and you have the ability to legally vote in your state, you need to do it. It doesn't take long. It's not a burden. And in a lot of states like mine, you could fucking do it from home, mail your ballot in, and not have to worry. The only thing we're doing this week, which I was supposed to do today, if fatigue didn't fucking hit, was go down, get my new real ID, print it out so that if I have to go into a physical polling place, I'm not pressed, because I am in a very non-melanated town now. I know they like to push people like me around. I will push back. I will show them my ID. I don't give a fuck. But I need to have the proper credentials just in case. This is the stuff that my partner and I have to worry about. This is the stuff that I'm willing to go through to protect democracy, to be able to vote, because I'm in a good state right now. I have a good governor, and I'm about to get to that because it ties into the react I'm about to do. Now, I know, reaction, slow button, easy fruit, but this person is such a fucking cartoon character that if I didn't bring this up in conjunction to what I want to bring up, and I'm going to get the pictures ready too, so that you know what this is about. You might go, 10, why do you have up what's the current federal minimum wage, and why? Well, because a little YouTuber, not little, big YouTuber actually, and only big in girth, decided to weigh in on tipping and how much people make and the why. And I'm about to load it up because I don't want to be here for 2 hours picking this thing apart. But I need you to see this, because I'm going to bring this picture and another thing back up later. But it is to shut this heifer up about what she doesn't know, especially in our country. I can't talk about other people's countries because I don't live there. But I'm going to bring up in retaliation about American wages, because this is $7.25 per hour. This happened in 2009. 2009, as this picture brings up. Because people need to understand, a simple Google search would have shut Chantal up. She doesn't want to do that work. Nope, work too much for her. She's work allergic. And some other things that I heard last night about what she would rather do instead of work. Ugh. But when you see somebody doesn't realize that since 2009, people have only been able, baseline, to make on a federal level $7.25 an hour. Yet she swears, because she allegedly made $12 an hour 30 years ago, that everybody's making the same. But I'm going to get to this fuck shit because it made me upset enough to want to base the Bonnet Chronicles around it. So I really do want to just get to it and kind of call out some of the things that she's pretty much saying. But it also has the added bonus of showing that sad anniversary, so I get to clown on that just a little bit. You know, it's the little things that make you happy. And I want to give a special shout out to Chicken Pickle for doing these edits to make this tolerable and able to watch.
What? What is this?
We're going to fire this up. I love this song too, because this is her own words. Yeah, I agree with that too, Beans. Whenever they throw in the towel, that means they know. And let me pause the song because I love the song, but seriously, whenever a politician is like, they're not going to do something, they know they've lost. There's no way he's getting reelected. He's done fucked over both sides so much that they would rather go with somebody else. So Joe Manchin does not have a chance in Hades, a snowball's chance in Hades of being president or anything else. He better get in the lobbyists while lobbyists is still a thing before people get tired of that shit. Make that bag, go retire somewhere, West Virginia or wherever washed up politicians go. But he needs to stop this whole presidential bid stuff because nobody wants to vote for him. Wow. They used her own words for this. And I agree with that, Beans.
Hello, little gherkins. Well, Celibate Sierra and Soft Hands Tall Pete's have allegedly made it to their 1-year anniversary.
Wow.
Even though the date has changed multiple times.
Yep, because she lies.
No wedding anniversary is complete without putting out a heavily scripted, cringy video for a bunch of people that can't stand you. Let's get into it.
And before we even get into it, because it's going to be bad, y'all, prefacing, this is sad. Once again, been with my partner for over 7 years now. Not once. Outside the couple shop that I did a couple of years back that I use every year now to commemorate our anniversary, because I don't need to take pictures every year because it's fucking weird. I know the chronically online think it's normal to digitalize every aspect of your life, but your wedding anniversary should not be publicized like this. And I will not stop saying it. It's fucking weird. She did not prove what she was setting out to prove with this at all.
Today is mine and Chantal's 1-year anniversary.
His voice kills me too.
I don't know this actually, but I have 2 surprises for her.
No, he doesn't.
For the first one, I decided to take her out on a date.
There's no way that was a surprise. There was no way any of this was a surprise. And he would have been better off saying, hey, it's our anniversary. We're going to go out to dinner and do some fuck shit. Instead of trying to lie and make it seem like he did big plans. But this is the fakery, the level of fakery that these two do that is so annoying.
Date night to a nice seaside restaurant. Yalla.
Agreed with that, Beans. Everything she does. Really? An ad already and a forced ad. Lovely. So I'm gonna let this play. But she tends to make up everything as she goes along. She puts her business out there, gets mad that people want to say anything about her business. She's just a mess. Like, she doesn't like being called out on her mess. But you put it out there and you're not in control.
Told us you were going to dinner.
Yeah.
What a weird thing to lie about.
That's all they do. They're liars that lie.
Yeah, thank you, baby. It's so nice. We're here on the ocean,
Whew.
and we're gonna have shisha and food, and I'm enjoying my anniversary with you.
They could have did this at home. The shot is like, they didn't even invest in like putting her phone light up so that there's better lighting. This is sad. Like, I'm literally taping in my bedroom, so I know my lighting's kind of off, but I've had a sick day. This is literally their anniversary, and they're taping like they're having the same kind of sick day that I'm having. I am putting more effort into my content sick than they did for this anniversary. I need you to understand the levels of fuckery that I've ingested the last few days. I don't even understand why I'm doing this to myself. She is a cartoon character, literally.
You so far.
I'm glad to hear that, baby.
Ugh.
Look how nice everything is. The palm trees.
Yes, because this is what people care about on their anniversary. You know, most normal couples are,
And the beautiful
into each other, but palm trees, y'all. Ambiance.
Wow, the chemistry is really through the roof. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I totally believe they are madly in love.
I love the snark. But for real, exactly. 2005 was when I created my first YouTube account and then just let it languish, and now kiddos on it more than I am. The reality is, I get that this is a site where you can do anything from anywhere and maybe get lucky and go viral. This person has been on YouTube for over 7 years now herself, and this is the level they're doing this for their anniversary video. It's sad. It's really pathetic.
She even put on her best 8XL abaya for the night out in the empty restaurant.
Oh my god, the birds. I love Chicken Pickle.
You always bring me a good luck anyway.
Yeah, because she pays all your bills. I would have good luck too if I had a sugar mama paying everything. Like, I mean, it ain't rocket science there, Salah.
This is like the Notebook if they didn't even like each other.
Exactly.
Hello guys, just enjoying my time with my love here in
Oh, hello guys. I'm gonna bad act for you and pretend like I am happy and in this relationship for non-financial gains. This pisses me off. It pissed me off when I first seen it in FFG's chat. It will never not piss me off. You are not a good actor. I know you try to pretend, but there's no chemistry there. So stop this. Stop it. It pisses me off.
this romantic place.
I am screaming at him, acting like he didn't see us here.
Exactly.
Hello, guys. After staring off into the distance.
And I'm gonna be 100, a little bit petty. You can't really call it a pretty face if it's caked in makeup, concealer, and every kind of fucking phone filter. I don't even remember what Chantal's face looks like. I just know that without the abaya, like me, a big girl, there's a couple of extra chins there. And she thinks she's hiding it well with the makeup, the filters, and the abaya, and you're not, Chantal. I can show myself unapologetically without any cover up because I know what I've done to my body. I know what I plan to do with myself. And I got somebody who loves me. So I guess I'm a little bit more confident in that. But when you hide your true self behind coverings, you can't really talk. But I guess you can talk shit. But then we can volley it back at you because some of us aren't afraid of our looks because some of us are confident in ourselves. Boop.
A damn sitcom.
It is. It's infuriating.
You chose a very good place, babe.
Oh no, you can't. It's honestly, I remember Tammy Faye's makeup dripping too. Oof.
If it was deep fried Salah,
She
of
would.
course she's going to like it.
Yeah.
I love the towers. You can see the towers in the background. I love it.
But I might skip just a little bit ahead to the food because
For a
this.
family of 4 every day for some YouTube shekels.
Yep.
What a guy.
And here's our food.
Yeah. Anniversary. Meat poops
Here.
and shrimp.
And my love got a shrimp. Fried shrimp.
Yes.
With French fries, you know. So we're gonna enjoy our dinner now and see you later.
Yes. Let's skip ahead. And the ad. I don't really like the Resident Evil games either.
I'd walk out. You know damn well Chantal complained the entire way home about that portion size.
Yep.
There's no way she didn't order delivery from inside the car to meet her at the door the minute she arrived.
Oh
Baby,
my
what's your
god.
restaurant?
I don't have any complaints, so I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10.
Sure, Dan.
I'm so glad that you like it.
Yes, thanks for bringing me here.
Anytime.
Whoa, there are such good actors. Really riveting.
Her stomach is growling. There is no way in hell Chantal was satisfied with 6 fried shrimp and a small fry.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
a surprise. Anyway, the first surprise down and the second one to go. Let's go.
They're really
The
this.
second surprise for Chantal The flower bouquet is ready.
Sad anniversary. The bad thing is, and I said it and I mean it, that's trash flowers. You know how I know those are trash flowers? I've seen better bouquets at the literal Publix down south, and Kroger loves bouquets. And I had a friend that lived up the street from me when I lived in Durham that loved to give women flowers. I don't know if he was just being sweet or a flirt or whatnot. So anytime we walked the kids to school, there was a chance Cowboy Dude, I'm going to call him Cowboy Dude to not dox anybody, would give people flowers. And I got a bouquet of flowers that looked just like that from him once. Showed it to my man so that there would be no, cross things thinking that I was cheating or anything. But they're not the best of flowers. And especially for your big 1 year anniversary, they were trash flowers. And I know she gets mad when people say it. And she made a parody video where we counted the roses, and she got mad at that and stayed mad. You couldn't even get you a dozen red roses on your 1 year wedding anniversary. You're the one that flexes on people. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
Let's go. Babe, can you come here and keep your eyes closed until I tell you, okay? Yeah.
Exactly. But this is the part that really made me go, why? Why would you do this? Yeah.
I love that they are trying so hard to convince us they are so madly in love.
Agreed.
Doing the opposite.
I have a surprise for you.
For Pete's sake.
You exciting? Okay.
Oh boy.
2, 1. Ta-da!
Why is she behaving like this?
Open your eyes.
Oh my goodness!
First of all, why did he turn on the lights and ruin the one good vibe of that setup?
Mm-hmm.
Second, did everyone notice how she somehow knew exactly where to look for her surprise?
Because they're fake.
This is all for the camera without telling us.
Mm-hmm.
The over-the-top squealing and bouncing around for what? This is so pathetic.
And she gets out of breath from it, so it's crazy. Like, big girl to big girl, don't overexert your stuff on a bad shot. Like, come on.
What is this stuff?
It's candles and cheap flowers and a box.
Oh my gosh. It's beautiful.
It really isn't. And I know people are going to say, you sound elitist, Tin. I'm not trying to be elitist. It's like I told Greg. I'm literally wearing my 1 year anniversary present because he got me this chain 7 years ago. I know it looks like a choker. I don't care. I love it. It is rose with a pearl in the middle. It was one of the first things that he opened up. And it's not about the jewelry or the sentiment, because I can't even wear certain metals in the first place. I do legitimately have a metal allergy, so we have to even be careful of stuff like that. So it's not even about fancy jewelry for me, because some jewelry can literally put me in the hospital, so it's not always worth taking that risk. We literally have to plan jewelry around my fucking weird ass allergies. So let's not get it twisted about the financial stuff, because I know sometimes it sounds like, oh, Ting, you're being elitist with the level of jewelry. No, I'm not. I'm saying that you married a traditional Muslim. You like throwing in people's face, asking them where's their men. You literally made a parody of somebody that I appreciate and sit in their streams, supposed non-existent relationship, because they don't put all their business out there. So let's be 100. You marry a traditional secular man whose tradition normally means you get your wife a piece of gold for the first anniversary, especially. You show off that you're together. You are going to invest in the future of your relationship. And he did not get you that. We're going to see what he got her. It is crazy pathetic.
You lit all these candles?
Yeah. All for you, honey.
I love you.
Exactly. Love don't mean fuck all if he doesn't put in the effort. It's work. Relationships are work.
Wasn't getting shit from Salah, which is why she gave us that whole speech a few days ago about how she doesn't need material gifts.
Yep, she bought all that stuff on that table too, I guarantee you. That's why it's so pathetic too.
Happy anniversary.
What did she buy him? That was another question people ask. Was it that fake Louis Vuitton hat? Because I don't... She could have had him open that at least.
Thank you. I love you, Hayati.
That hug said a lot, but it did not say we're fucking.
Because it ain't... She is not getting that D. Nope, nope, nope way.
Let's see.
The part she wrote.
Oh, I love you in like a whole bunch of languages.
Whew.
Happy anniversary, Solange.
When Greg and I were younger, he would do little cutesy things. He still sometimes writes little notes here and there on like post-its and stuff to be cutesy. But the time of getting cards kind of ends when you're in a little intimate relationship. Like, we'll buy each other collectibles now that we like and stuff that we're into. But this stuff, this is going to be cute if this was like 20, 30 years ago and they were in high school. She's 40. He's 30. This is embarrassing. I am getting secondhand embarrassing. And this is like the third time I've watched this. This is a better condensed version because I had to watch the full uninterrupted version in the live stream, and it doesn't get better with watching. It gets sadder with watching. This is sad.
Tell equals a heart. I love you.
He didn't write that.
That's so sweet.
He didn't write that. That's her handwriting. He looks like he barely wants to touch her.
I don't even know what else to say about this. I've seen better acting in porn. It's just sad, honestly. Like, imagine being so desperate to prove to a bunch of people that don't even like you that you were able to find a husband that you'll do this.
I mean, nope.
Okay, what's in the
Like,
box?
She really makes us big girls look like we can't get in. We can. We just don't have to prove it to anybody. Like, I don't understand that. You don't have to prove it if you got it.
All right. It's gonna be tasty if it's from Dip and Dip.
Because that's what a diabetic needs. Happy anniversary.
Cake.
I got my wife, who just 3 mukbangs ago now, complained about her ACL being a 6, which means she's either pre-diabetic or in the diabetic range. I didn't know about all those numbers because, unlike some bigger people, I don't have that. I'm not in the realm for that. I don't like sweets like that. I'm lucky. A lot of my shit was just being lazy. And I'm working to get it off. So I'm lucky that I'm not in that danger zone. Chantel is literally in that danger zone. She had Kuwaiti doctors tell her that she's in that danger zone. And she's sitting there about to face fuck this cake. And it's infuriating. But, you know, I'm just here to see how this ride ends at this point. I wasn't here from the beginning, thank God, but I've seen enough of the recap to know that I would have tapped out long ago. She is a mess. And you can't put it in bio on a mess and act like it's not still a mess. Because I heard her, let me pause this again, literally say she would do a certain act for BK sauce. So yeah, that's the level of mess that Salas hitched his wagon to in the hope to get Canada papers. Things not gonna work out.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah. Let's just get to cutting this. I don't want to hear her talking about thanking him and stuff, because it's a cake and you're diabetic.
Yalla.
Will you buy it? And just so we can be completely petty, you know that other piece that he's not going to eat because he never eats on camera, whatever. All of that cake's going in her, right? We're all on the same page here that piece that she allegedly cut for him, it's not for him. It's for her. It's all for her. This whole setup production was to stroke her ego, and I hope she gave him extra, not just that knockoff hat, for his bad acting in this. They didn't convince anybody. We're still going to talk crap about her, but, I mean, at least she thinks she did something. Yeah.
You will love it, I know.
This is
The only
embarrassing.
thing that had Chantal rolling her eyes into the back of her head on her anniversary was cake. Just like every other day of her life.
That's
Love that
sad.
for you.
So good.
Wow. I'm sorry I subjected y'all to all that. I don't know if I just wanted to share my pain, but this next part,
Chantal get Salah for their 1-year anniversary.
who knows?
Apparently nothing, because they didn't show anything.
Yep.
And of course, any day for the two of them is really just the opportunity for her to convince strangers on the internet that someone loves her.
Yep.
But I do love that Salah got a new car, a fake Louis Vuitton hat, and Chantal got flowers and a cake. Anyway, let's watch this mukbang she put out where she complained about tipping. Because of course she did.
Which, content warning, she eats a lot. I'm going to try to get through as much as this before I rebut a lot of the dumb stuff she said. It was condensed well, but it was still her eating, which could trigger you because it triggers the fuck out of me. I still don't understand the appeal of mukbangs. I still don't understand how this is monetizable content because a lot of it does violate the TOS. But here we are. We are in the ninth circle of Hades, y'all. Population her, population Chantal, and we are just here as a captive audience. But she started talking about stuff that I'm actually versed in, and that is why I decided to use Chicken Pickle's edits of this stuff, because when you hear the dumb shit she says, those of us in the know will instantly be able to correct her, but let's just hear just a little bit of it.
Oh, assalamu alaikum. Welcome back, people. I'm super hyper and you're gonna get it.
Shut up.
I'm super hungry as well. I have one of my favorite meals. I know I say that.
When is she not hungry? Let's be 100. She's always hungry. This is a character act that she thinks she's going to be like the female Nikocado. You ain't got Nick's bag. You're never going to get Nick's bag. And Nick's partner actually loves him and is in on the joke. So they make that money because they're actually a unit. You're just one unit yourself trying to desperately make this man your partner in crime. And no, except for scamming people, I doubt that he even wants to be in the same room with you.
Everything. I rotate my favorite foods. That's how it goes.
Every food's her favorite food. Carbs on top of carbs.
Beans dipping in the bread.
I can't. I'm gonna skip.
5 days since you had that massive grocery haul that is entirely too much for a two-person household.
Agreed.
Why the fuck would you need to get more groceries this soon?
Yeah.
Where's the food going? This makes no sense.
She's Kirby Hoovering it at this point.
How do we talk about tipping? Tipping culture these days? Now, tipping culture is different in every country. Like, here it's a choice.
Mind you, and I hate to pause so soon into the dumb shit she's about to say. They had just gotten back from a visa run to Thailand, a country that primarily banks itself on tourist money and gratuities because these people make a living. They survive off the generosity of tourists. So yes, it's a heavy tipping culture country because people's livelihoods are based off of that. And the fact that she just came back from a country like that she imposed upon for 60 days, basically, I'm pissed. I'm pissed and I'm trying to keep calm, but she's such a dumb fuck that it pisses me off.
You know, like, it's not mandatory, and there's some countries that are like that. There's some countries that frown upon tipping, and then there's some countries who...
Yeah, countries you can't afford to go to, like Japan, where it's literally not the standard because the wages there for employees are paid fairly. Your country in Kuwait, allegedly the fourth richest country in the world, should pay people a fair wage for the work they do. So it's definitely not the same everywhere, dum-dum.
It's basically, like, in my opinion, a bit out of control. I'm pretty sure Canada being one of those, US. Every time I think of the tipping issue, I think of...
Need I remind you, because I'm not going to stop showing this. Let me get that picture up. July 24th, 2009 was when we got the latest federally backed minimum wage. And what is that federally backed minimum wage again? Because some people need a reminder of how much they think people can live off of in the year 2023 in some states. $7.25 per hour. We are in the year 2023. Our federally backed minimum wage is not raised in some places because in my state, and I will get to that in just a bit, have raised minimum wage on a state level, which is what most governors should be looking into. But not everybody has a governor that gives a fuck. Some people live in states that their governor would rather sell them down to give a football player an industrial-sized sporting complex, like Tate Reeves did in Mississippi. It's a fuck show. And the fact that there is an idiot on here shoveling way too much food in her face talking about what's going on in my neck of the woods without even understanding that we have a literal fucking federal minimum wage that hasn't raised in years, decades even. This is why I say stay in your lane, Chantal. Finance isn't it for you, you dumb fuck. Sorry for the rant, y'all, but she pisses me off. And she's going to say worse. So I'm going to try to get us through as much of this before the hour's up.
Of the Reservoir Dogs movie, where Mr. Pink is like, Steve Buscemi is like telling everyone off because you got a tip, and
I said this in my last reacts and I stand by it. It was a fucking movie character based on the person that nobody takes out to dinner with them in the first place. We all have that cheap ass friend. We don't invite them to the good restaurants. We don't bring them out to dinner with us because we don't want to be embarrassed. A wait staff does a lot of work normally, even if you're just in the intimate for two dinner. They are doing work. And they deserve a gratuity if gratuity is included in the bill, or just not being a cheap fuck. I have never gone out and not thought, especially in a restaurant, that a tip isn't customary. And I know it's more of an American thing, but it should be customary. These people are working their ass off to provide a service to you. That's why it's called a gratuity, you cow. Oh, she makes me mad.
It's like, I only tip if it's good service.
So someone that relies heavily on restaurants to support her massive amounts of takeout orders is upset because she doesn't think waitstaff deserves tips.
She's jelly.
This should be good.
What do you guys think about tipping? I think it's gotten out of hand.
I think tipping is necessary, not just because I've known people in the service industry that work their ass off for under the minimum wage, because depending on where they work, they only make $2.13 per hour because the job expects tips to make up for what they refuse to pay. I don't think it's gotten out of hand, and I think the examples that she uses is ridiculous. And we're going to get to that because I don't want to waste too much time in this. She just says stupid shit, though.
With like 20% of your bill. Or...
She spends about 70 to 80 bucks. You see that. That is enough. That is a fucking party platter worth of food that she's chowing down on like a hungry hippo. And yet she's complaining about paying 20% gratuity for a fucking party platter's worth of food that she still thinks is for one person, which I can't unpack all the fucking things Foodie irks about me. I would take 50 hours. Her chewing's killing me too.
I mean, I don't know. It's just like, you're getting...
You know somebody's super profound when they go, I mean, I don't know. I just want to give my opinion without thought and chew my copious amount of food and seem like I'm smarter than I am, but I'm going to say some dumb shit. Be prepared, because it's not profound. It's dumb shit.
Tipped extra money to do your job. You know, like, you're bringing me a Coke to the table. You're bringing my food from the kitchen to the table. You know, like...
Once again, because she sets it up to be volleyed. I don't care what anybody says. You're bringing my food. You're bringing this amount of food to the table? Then she needs to tip. She needs to tip and thank them for carrying that amount of food to anything. Like, oh, fucking hey. Welcome to the chat, Generalissimo. Exactly. You hear the sound of her chewing, and it's already infuriating. But the fact that she eats this massive amount of food that says people don't need to be tipped for carrying it to her? Come on now. Come on.
You're expected to do those things, and you're expected to be nice.
Oh my God.
So don't be super nice, and I'll just keep my 20%.
Ma'am, you're broke.
Cook your own meals. You can pour your own fucking Cokes.
Mm-hmm.
You want the convenience of eating out because you're too lazy to stand in your kitchen and cook.
Exactly.
You want to complain that they don't deserve a tip because they are just doing their job? Food service employees do a lot more than just deliver Cokes and plates to your table. You wouldn't last 10 minutes in a restaurant.
You know, 20%, like...
I said this in a takedown of her a few reacts ago because she gave her fail history of 16 years of jobs that she both got and then quit or got fired from. A lot of them she got fired from. This was her own words. I'm not being mean. She literally said this. Whole ass hour and a half of her lamenting her failed job history, and she noted that a restaurant where she wanted to be a wait staff took one look at her and said, nah, bitch, you're a liability. Get back in the kitchen, wash some dishes. You cannot be a waiter because it's a labor-intensive job. You're on your feet. You are taking orders. You are carrying heavy trays. You have to be active. You see the only action this chick gets is shoveling food in her face. I say this as a fatty. I don't hide my fatness, but I would never do this. Ever. Views are not worth killing yourself. I will never change my mind on that. This is ridiculous.
I mean, now it's like going up 25%. You see on the thing, you see, some restaurants make it mandatory to tip.
Look, I'm okay with calling out especially big chain restaurants that could afford to pay their employees a living wage, but never, and I don't care how snooty this makes me sound because I'm not trying to be snooty. I just would be embarrassed if I went out with anybody and they were spying how much they had to tip. It should be standard to give at least 20% tip because of how hard the wait staff work. I have never ever looked at the gratuity and scoffed at it or got mad at it. And the fact that she's doing that, just say you're broke. This is ridiculous. This is a round the cow's ass way of saying I ain't got no money, honey.
Yes, because there are people like you who are the absolute worst type of people to wait on that require an insane amount of work.
Yep.
Because you're needy and demanding.
And entitled.
It's a huge mess that they have to clean up. And
Yep. Agreed, Neon.
For the most part,
that's why I started working out again and cut my calories because I don't want to die. I'm too old for this shit. At my age, it is playing a dangerous game. So I know I put the weight on. I'm getting the weight off. I could never do this.
A lot.
You don't tip.
Don't you know waiters only get paid like $4 an hour, $2 an hour?
Yes.
It's not true anymore.
It is true. It's true. It's fucked up. And depending on the state they're in, it might be a little bit better, but there are still states that are right to work states here in the U.S. that allow for employees to pay a wage they think is fair, even if it's not truly fair. There are even jobs that still pay under the books because if they don't have to report it, it doesn't happen. There is a lot of fuck shit that people navigate in this messed up job situation have to deal with, especially if they're in the service industry. And that pisses me off that she weighs in like she's an expert on this when she doesn't even want to pay her bills. She fled from Canada so that she have to pay her debts there. So let's keep it 100. We know you're broke, bitch. We know you're broke.
Maybe at one time some waiters, yes, but there's minimum wage, I think minimum wage is different for waiters.
Once again, minimum wage is $7.25 an hour on a federal level. Some states, like here in Michigan, just passed January 2023 was when we got the the state increase to $10.10 here in the state of Michigan. That is because Governor Whitmer made the decision to do that. She got dinged for it. People are literally mad because she dared raise money for people. That's how fucked up it is because Fox News likes to pit anything as, oh, socialism. No, pay people a fucking living wage. It's the year 2023. We haven't had a federal back wage increase in a long time, and we can't just have one because by state, it would destabilize our economy. I know some of you might not even understand that because most people don't take economics. Most people don't study finance. So it is kind of your brain starts to melt when somebody talks it. So I'm going to put it in simple terms. When I lived in the South, my rent rarely went over $700 a month. I know some people in New York are like, what are you talking about? Because I had a cousin who told me in the fucking projects, federal housing, that he was paying 7 years ago $1,200 a month. There is a literal difference depending on where you live in the U.S., how much your cost of living is going to be. So while everybody's like, oh, fight for 15, what could be the damage? It could fucking throw our states out of whack. Because if you get $15 a month in certain states, it might seem like a cash boon, but then you got assholes at the grocery stores raising prices. You got companies saying, well, everybody's getting more money, so let's raise the prices here. Not realizing that $15 in a state like New York, and not even the full state because upstate is still a little bit more rural than the actual city. The city is where it's super expensive. $15 an hour might not mean fuck all. It might mean an extra tack-on job that you can get to maybe get by. So it's like I said, these people that say that a federal increase in minimum wage without understanding how it would impact state by state, how it would impact our economy, don't understand things. It's not to ding you. It's on purpose. I wish more people would get financial literacy courses early on so that you can understand the important impact of knowing where money goes, how money's spent, the cost of living, and why certain increases need to be. But we don't educate ourselves. We just get our fucking finance advice from fucking YouTubers who are mukbangers, and that shit's gotta stop. Because she's gonna say some fuck shit that really set me off. As usual. Let me get this playing again.
Stupid.
She is.
Minimum wage for tipped employees is $2.13.
Yep.
Their hourly pay is combined with tips to meet the federal minimum wage, which where I live is $7.25.
Yep.
If for some reason their tips and hourly wage combined doesn't meet the federal minimum wage, then the employer has to pay the difference. So yes, Chantal, it is different for tipped employees, and their livelihood literally depends on tips.
Yep.
Here's the thing. You know what can fix this problem? How about the corporations or the businesses stop using customers?
And in a perfect world, to stop this heifer from trying to seem like she's understanding anything, yeah, we could push it to the corporations. But once again, there are states that are right to work. Neon just brought up a good example. Texas. I get that I have people that I love still living in Texas. I got family and friends in Texas. Your state ain't doing us right. You know Abbott's a fucking jerk. They don't even care about the deaths of kids in that state. And I'm going to say it again. Uvalde shouldn't have happened, but it did. You'd rather protect guns over people. And giving these people, since they are already one of our richer conservative states, any more chance at extra money so that they can continue to restrict women's rights, black and brown people's rights, and just say, we're just trying to protect the nation from the illegals and all other stupid conservative rhetoric. No, I don't want to see them prosper until they get their fucking state right. And other states like Tate Reeves, Mississippi, where water is unsafe, but he has enough welfare, literal welfare money to open a sporting complex for Brett Favre's daughter. Y'all are trying me on this, but I know what I'm talking about when I say you cannot just roll out a high federally backed minimum wage without bad people benefiting from it, and not the bad people that most people think of, the hard-working people that you think are bad, because how dare we have to work for a living to pay our bills and stuff. I mean the fuckers who will pocket a lot of extra revenue nefariously. We have to be smart about this. It's bad enough we set up a system where we're literally working ourselves to death for every fucking penny to make somebody else who wealth hoards coffers fatter. But that's a whole other argument. But to have somebody go on this law and diatribe about tipping, all to say that she can't afford to tip people, trips me out. Oh, I didn't even want to start it again. I just hate watching her eat.
That's the problem.
I actually agree with this sentiment.
It's the only thing you can agree with.
Be paid a livable wage.
Yep.
But unfortunately, that's not the reality.
Nope.
And if you want to enjoy the convenience of eating at a restaurant, tip your servers.
Not only that,
tip, cook for yourself.
Exactly. Don't eat out if you can't afford to eat out. Right now, being a new homeowner, eating out is not gonna happen. Plus, I need to lose weight, so it's not feasible anyway. I don't understand these people that say, well, if we eat out and we can't afford to tip, that shouldn't be a thing. You could have saved that money. You could have bought groceries and cooked for yourself. You want the luxury and the convenience of being served in a restaurant, but you don't want to pay that. And then you conflate it with fast food, which I have not, even in this day, seen anybody at fast food restaurants asking for a tip. I know I don't frequent them a lot because honestly, I can't really stomach a lot of the saturated stuff anymore. I don't understand the point she was trying to make in this.
A tip is a tip. Something a little extra.
No, it's actually a gratuity. Something to thank people for their service, dum-dum.
The waiter's whole income.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Paying them less just so they can get tips. You can't rely... In my opinion, it's wrong to rely on that.
Shut up.
People will say, don't go out to eat if you can't afford to tip.
Yes!
Open a store if you can't afford to pay your employees.
Wow, really? Because opening up a store is the same? No. If you go out to get a service and a service is provided to you and gratuity is added into that service, pay that gratuity. It's really not rocket science. Or don't go out to eat.
It is very clear you have no idea how the restaurant industry works.
Mm-hmm.
You took absolutely no time to research anything at all.
She never does.
Restaurants pay the way they do because they are allowed to.
Yep.
Some states have changed their laws regarding minimum wage for tipped employees. But until that happens everywhere, you'd rather complain and punish the people who are just...
Exactly. And to interrupt Chicken Pickle just a little bit, since I gotta remind some people, in America, we call ourselves the United States, but we are literally 50 different states and several territories, and not everybody's on the same page. And even if we wanted everybody to be on the same page, we couldn't just blanket do this because it would throw our economy into a shitter. We have to be smart about this. And right now, on a state-by-state basis, we don't always have smart people at the helm. And until we get better governors in each of the states, it is a fuck show. That is the best way I could put it.
Just making a living.
That's my, you know what I mean? Like, no. I remember
I'm sorry I'm subjecting y'all to this.
growing up, tip used to be so cheap, like $2-3 at the table.
Mind you, she's 40. She's 40 years old, so when she was a kid, of course things were cheaper. $2-3 is the equivalency of what a $20+ tip is now. So the fact that she's equating what happened to her when she was a kid, when I'm going to remind you again, Chantel, you're 40 years old. So of course things were cheaper. Of course a $2-3 chip back in the 80s and even the 90s was more of a big deal than it is now. What the fuck is... Seriously, she's a cartoon character. She's a literal cartoon character. Exactly, Axie. Another thing, some restaurants will literally take tips. My mom worked for a place down in Miami, and I almost gave them away, but I don't want to get sued. But she was a literal restaurant employee, and she relied on tips. And they were allowed to dip into their employees' tip jar. I thought that was some fuck shit because my company that I worked for had a big manager meeting, and I was like, well, my mom's restaurant could use some business. It's healthier food. They did a lot of good chicken bowls and stuff like that. I almost gave it away again, so I got to calm it down. So we did a big freaking order, and my job, since I was the bookkeeper, could pay the extra tip. And so my boss was like, oh, your mom works there? Let's give them a really generous tip. Because I thought it was going to go into the restaurant employees who did the work, got the food out there to us, pockets. Come to find out that those bosses took that big-ass tip from them. It is what it is. It was a right-to-work state down in fucking Florida. It happens all the time to hard-working employees. And no matter what you try to do to circumvent it, sometimes this unfair shit happens. It's messed up, and I want it to change. But until you get Doofus DeSantis out of the helm, and not by trying to make him president, you're going to still deal with this level of fuck shit in your state, Florida. Oh, let me try to get through the rest of this as much as I can.
Thing on the transaction, like, how much do you want to leave? 10, 15, 20? I don't even know if there is a 10 anymore. They keep upping it.
Yeah, we know you're broke.
Maybe the person really can only afford to pay for the meal.
Then they shouldn't eat out. I don't care if I sound mean or elitist when I say that. You shouldn't eat out if you can't afford to pay the gratuity. Especially in a sit-down restaurant. I would be so embarrassed if I went to a sit-down restaurant, couldn't afford the meal that I ordered, and then couldn't afford to tip somebody who's working their ass off to make sure that I'm enjoying myself, make sure that my family is enjoying their meal. I don't know. I guess I got home training. You could tell this heifer ain't got home training. I want to see if I can get to the part that really annoyed me before I end this, because she makes my life feel like I age years watching her eat. Oh, it's chewing.
That's fat as fuck.
So I'm not cheap. I'm not anti-tipping entirely.
Oh, I love chicken pickle. Girl, oh man.
With the expectations, you know?
Shut up and get to the story.
At drive-thrus, I don't know.
Nobody's asking at drive-thrus for that. I've never seen that.
Drive-thru handing me my coffee, like,
See, I don't know anything about Starbucks. I'm going to pause this one last time before I get to the viral story that I want to debunk on her. I don't drink coffee. I can't. I had surgery a few years back, so I don't drink coffee, so I don't know Starbucks that well. Y'all can help me out in the chat if you do drink that coffee, if they make you tip. But the amount of work that the baristas and the amount of entitlement that the baristas have to go through, if they wanted a little extra, I don't think I'd be mad at it. I don't get why she's complaining when I've seen her constantly with those overly sugary drinks in her hands. You drink enough of it, tip your baristas, you cheap bitch. Let me see if I can get to this story. Oh man, love you YouTube with your daggone ads.
So, to me, the one who should be paying you to do your job is not the customer. It should be the especially something like, you know, a coffee chain. They make a lot of money and they can't afford to pay their employees more.
Shut up! They're dealing with your entitled ass.
So just like
the carbs on carbs.
That really grinds my gears.
She does this on purpose. She does it on purpose. Peter Griffin, when she's eating this much food and her face looks like that. But I'm not supposed to make those observations, even though I'm fat too. I get accused of being fat phobic for being fat and calling somebody else fat. I hate this timeline. I want the multiverse where all my favorite comedians are still alive and I'm not dealing with this stupid shit. Seriously. Higgs boson, make it happen.
To see people like... What set this all off is I see TikTok videos.
She's on TikTok chronically.
I saw one woman. She worked with DoorDash, okay? And I don't know if you saw this clip, it was viral. And
yeah, everybody saw it. Shut up, get to the point.
And she was saying, she brought his delivery.
Oh
and she was
my
like,
God.
are you crazy?
Sorry.
Like, do you know, I'm paraphrasing. Do you know how far the restaurant is to your home? It's like 40 minutes.
You watch the video, but you have to paraphrase? Shut up, Chantal. Get to the point.
And you only tipped $8? Lady, $8 is a lot.
$8 is not a lot because need I remind you, it's the year 2023. $8 might have been a lot when we were kids. The $8 nowadays is not a lot. And I remember that video because I remember the initial outrage, especially on the site that's known as the Dead Bird app to me now, how people wanted to weigh in each side. I'm going to take a completely chaotic neutral stance with this because it's a messed up situation. The exploitative nature of those delivery places is already documented. DoorDash, Uber Eats, all of those places take advantage of people being contract workers so that they don't even have to pay them a fair and living wage because a lot of that stuff is based on gratuity. They make up what they won't pay them as a base salary with the contract thing. That's why that lady freaked out over an $8 tip because she drove way out of her way. Now, was that her fault for not doing the research and learning the area better? I could make that argument too. If you're going to be a Uber Eats or Lyft driver, or any of those people that have to do this work for a living, learn the area that you're driving in so that you know if you're wasting gas per dollar to do this delivery. It is basic business, and that is what you're doing when you decide to do these. And I know they make it lucrative. I've seen the commercials. You don't have to think about it. Become your own entrepreneur and all that other bullshit, fuck shit, buzzword stuff to get dum-dums to waste your gas money driving for ingrates like Chantal who don't even want to tip you and don't think you need to be tipped. And for real, think $8 is a lot of money because she's that level of broke ass bitch. Diatribe aside, the fact that that video has divided people shows the level of elitism versus the level of realism. Those of us who work hard for our money knows $8 isn't enough for somebody to drive that far out of the way. Should that bitch have taken the pizza back? No, you did a job. You signed up. You took the job. He gave you a tip. He didn't give you nothing. He just didn't give you a big enough tip to justify the amount of gas that you wasted. There was dumbness on both ends of that spectrum, but the fault does lie in these exploitative companies. I think what makes me mad about what Chantal said is that she based things off of how her life went. And she has this level of entitlement that you can clearly see in the amount of food she eats and the way she talks and the lack of care that she gives to anything in her life. Those of us who have worked hard and don't want to be embarrassed would never tell somebody that bothered to deliver to us that you're not worthy of a decent tip. I don't think in the last few years, and I'm captain of team broke ass, and I've said it all the time, and that's not the e-bag. I don't want anybody sending me money. I don't need bits or anything. This is just the real. I budget. I like living on a budget. It keeps me sane. It keeps me real. It keeps me not overspending. But the fact of the matter is, when I do go out or if I dare to order something, I want the person who takes the time to bring something to me to feel appreciated. You give a decent tip. You give at least 20% depending on the weather conditions and the amount of food that she's hauling. But she said something that fucking astounds me. I want to see if I can get to it before I wrap this up, because the level of entitlement kills me.
I take the assignment if it's too far. You can't, like, people are just relying
because people rely on income to survive, you dumb heifer.
And like, she was so just ungrateful about it, and like, only $8. That's like symbolizes perfectly how people see tipping nowadays, you know? Like, it's just never
She's a delivery driver. It is not even like in a restaurant. She's literally wasting gas, having to deal with the potential being attacked, because a lot of female delivery drivers, they literally ride with their partners or weapons now, because there is a literal chance that a predator could be on the other side of that door. So, you know what? I don't even want to watch the rest of her eating, because it really does make me want to punch her through the screen. So I'm just going to finish out with this. You don't know the place you're going to, what people are dealing with. You were literally in Thailand where gratuity is how people survive, and you were ingrate. You talk about America when the only time you've ever set your ass in here was to sneak across the border to get fast food. You are not a world traveler. You went to Cuba once, got drunk, went on a bigoted rant, and you even said, I'm going to use my white privilege to give all my money to people that are less than me, because you think brown and dark-skinned people are less than you. We could unpack all that, but I ain't got all night. You are a cartoon character of a person, but you show me what I have to do to work in my country to make things better for working people. People like me, people like my partner who have to earn a living, who live in a 2-income household because we're in a partnership. She said something during that anniversary thing that I skipped over that irked me, because he poured her drink like she was a 3-year-old toddler and talked about chivalry. And it's always those weird chicks that never really had love or a boyfriend that harken back to the days of chivalry. Somebody like me who actually likes and study history knows chivalry was fuck shit. It was a way to tell women that we couldn't think for ourselves. We needed a big man to do things for us. In this year, 2023, if you're not pushing for an actual partnership where I got mine, he got his, we're combining and we're getting better together, you're not in a good place. I don't understand anybody who thinks a relationship should be one-sided to show that it's a good relationship. Those relationships are often lopsided and never work out, or often fall apart in a really bad way. I hate that I'm even trying to give life advice to this heifer, because we know she doesn't listen, but I do know that she clicks on my stuff because she knows I'm talking about her. The fact that you are in a relationship right now that comes across as a contract doesn't fool me, but that you brought finance up to mukbang about when you should have just sat there and eat your food is palpable. And I need all of you who are watching me tonight, or who might watch this on YouTube, to understand that the reason I call her out is because I take this seriously. The fight for 15 was important to me back when I first heard about it, until I had friends who are literally in the financial sector still break down to me why, on a state-by-state basis, it could cause an economic crash deeper than we know. And this is not hyperbolic. This is not fear-mongering. It has to be done in a steady, fair way. Even the increase we got here in Michigan is $10.10, which is still better than the federally backed $7.25. But we need it to be generalized for state by state so that we don't throw our economy into the shitter. That is the only lesson I can give you right now. I will try to take more time out on this when I have more charts, graphs, and information, because I think I would rather do that than to just sound like a know-it-all fuck without proof. But I want you to understand that I actually understand this better than this foodie beauty chick. And it is not an easy subject. And people shouldn't just think that a slogan is enough for everybody here in the country. We do not want to go through another Great Depression. We already went through it once. Some of our grandparents lived through it. And it is not a fun time. And we cannot afford another economic tank. Globally, we can't afford it. Russia's already going through it with their fucking wars and shit. We cannot afford for America to go down that same path. I'm going to get ready to wrap this up, go actually make dinner for myself and my family, because I like to cook. And eating out right now is not in the budget, which is okay. A lot of us families are just trying to keep our heads afloat, trying to make sure that we don't lose everything, because that's what's more important. Complaining about tipping, that weird, I'm fancy but not really fancy flex that you're trying to do, Chantal, is just coming across as cartoon character. But I'm going to wrap this up, get back to what I smile about, making my family happy by showing them love through their stomachs. I know it's weird, and I agree, Neon. I want that multiverse where they're all still alive and this fuck shit isn't going on. But it is what it is, and while we're here, I'm going to be defiantly decent and make things better. And speaking of which, if you do want to support the cast and anything else, we will have the links in the show notes. We have Defiant Decency, Punk Powers of Defying Decency merch, and Chronically Unmotivated merch in the eShop. And we also have our novel Axiom. You can get the ebook or the paperback for 50% off with the code that I will link in the show notes. There are ways you can support those of us that you like, whether it's our streams. Your views do more than you know. Your comments in the comment sections do more than you know. Y'all just being here is enough for me. I am definitely going to be back on Friday night, though, y'all. The fatigue really kicked my butt today, so I appreciate you dealing with the room setup for tonight. But I am going to go while I still have energy, make some dinner, sit and talk with Axiom Wolf, and just have a good night. I hope that you all take care, and just take care, y'all. I'm going to wrap it up.